Hello and a very warm welcome this Thursday afternoon to our etmarkets.com webinar, which is being held in association with the National Stock Exchange. At etmarkets.com, we've been striving to constantly keep you on top of the markets game and help you make informed choices when it comes to stock trading, market technicals, products, and processes. We know as more household savings flow into equities, the interest of the retail investor has to be protected. While the Securities and Exchange Board of India and the bourses have put various grievance redressal systems in place, it is also important for investors to know about their rights and obligations. Today we have with us Dr. V.R. Narasimhan, who is the Chief of Regulations at the National Stock Exchange, and he will tell us how the investor grievance redressal mechanism of the National Stock Exchange works. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Narasimhan. It is our pleasure to have you here today. Dr. Narasimhan will make his presentation shortly on the working of the redressal system. He'll also field questions from the audience in a text chat. You know you can keep posting your questions in the little chat window on the right side of your screen. So stay tuned in and get some fabulous tips on how to be a smart consumer. Now it's over to you, Dr. Narasimhan.
Thank you, Lopa. Hello, welcome to this webinar on investor grievances in capital markets. The Securities Exchange Board of India, as Lopa said correctly, the investor protection is the prime objective, and in pursuit of this objective, SEBI has brought in several regulations, rules, etc. And stock exchanges also follow with their own protection mechanism. The protection mechanism to list are quite a few, but what is relevant to an investor, especially the retail investor, is that whenever a trade is done on his behalf, end of the day, a contract note is sent to him, an email confirmation is sent to him from the exchange directly, an SMS is sent to him directly from the exchange if the retail investor has registered his email address and mobile address with the exchange. This email address and mobile number can be registered with the exchange through the broker through whom he wants to trade. It can be multiple brokers also, doesn't matter. But if the email address and mobile numbers are available to the exchange, end of the day, every day, whenever the retailer trader has traded, a communication will go to him saying that so-and-so trade has been done. This is the first and foremost step in terms of keeping the investor informed about a trade taking place on his behalf. That gives a lot of information or a lot of triggers or alerts to the investor whether some trade is being done on his behalf, and if so, what are the trade details, etc. As soon as he receives this kind of a trigger or alert from the exchange, the investor can verify against his orders and see whether a correct trade has been put in his place. The question is, though there are several methods in which investor protection is being made, it's quite possible that for some reasons there could be a complaint against the investor, or sometimes there could be complaint against the company itself. Unlike the other countries where the investor has to go to a consumer court or any other forum other than the regulator, India has brought up with an excellent arrangement where investor can directly reach the regulator himself, that is SEBI, or stock exchanges where his trade is done. The retail investor ability to reach the stock exchange or reach the regulator is a unique and a special feature of this country, which will give a lot of confidence to the investors to continue to be trading in this exchange. That is the beauty of this particular country. The investor grievances system in our country is so robust and so straightforward that there is no need for an investor to go around to a consumer court or a regular court for justice. Regulator himself, SEBI, stock exchanges, broker, the whole chain is there to see that a grievance is redressed. That is the characteristic feature of this country. How, in case of complaint of an investor, what does he do? First and foremost, he has to reach the broker's office from where he has put the complaint, a trade for redressal of his complaint. Quite possibly, if the broker is professional enough and he understands the case, he may be able to resolve the issue. If it's a question of interpretation of law, interpretation of a trade, possibly the complaint is not redressed at the broker level. At that stage, the investor can reach NSE at any of its 14 offices. NSE has offices at Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Kanpur, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Indore. There are 14 offices around the country. They can reach any of those 14 offices. They can make a complaint or lodge a complaint on online basis at the link given here, nsc.investorhelpline.com. Even there you can make it, or you can even call up at the toll number given here, 1800220058. In all these places, a complaint can be lodged. If you want to approach the SEBI directly, SEBI also has offices in all these 14 centers. They also have an online portal called Scores, and they also have the toll-free numbers. This is how one can access the investor redressal grievance system, reach them and lodge a complaint. As soon as the complaint is lodged, an acknowledgement is given, a number is given, and based which will be tracking, which can be helped for tracking the particular complaint whenever they have a complaint. And at each of these 14 offices, NSE for itself has set up the standards to see that investor grievances are redressed in a quick way. At all its 14 offices, we have dedicated investor grievance resolution officers who attend to this. They don't do anything else, they do only this job. And SEBI has given clear-cut guidelines to all the exchanges that any grievance lodged with the exchange shall be resolved or closed within about 30 days time. NSE is trying to see that we are able to resolve the complaint even earlier than 30 days. That's the endeavor, that is the direction in which whole investor grievance redressal methodology has been set up at NSE and pursued by NSE. What we do at NSE is, as soon as a complaint is lodged either at the office of any of the offices of NSE in physical paper form, or through mail, or on the site given just now, or on a phone, the communication starts flowing to the broker against whom the complaint is given, and also to the investor who made the complaint. Wherever the applicant has given the email address, we try to send the communications on the email so that it is quick, it is direct, and it reaches the investor correctly in time. Therefore, we try to use the electronic communication methodology, SMSs, phones, and mails, to see that communications are fast. Breakdown in communication is one of the important reasons why a grievance may not get resolved in time. In order to see that there is no communication barriers or losses, we adapt this electronic communication methodology, in addition to, of course, physical letters wherever it has to be created a record. Then the grievance redressal is constantly monitored at the highest level. In fact, and every day morning when I come to my office, I check out how many cases are resolved yesterday, what has been received yesterday, whether any office is lagging in terms of resolution of complaints. So it happens at my level, and there are several other officers who also look at it at the head office in Bombay and also at the regional offices. Therefore, there is constant monitoring and constant attention given to this particular event or the investor grievance redressal process in this country, in NSE. There are broadly two types of complaints: complaints against the brokers and complaints against the listed companies. If you look at it, between the broker and investor, probably investor is often a little weaker because it's not an institutionalized person, it's a single person. Whereas brokers, they have institutions, they have companies, they have got large capital to spend, they have got professionals attending to their requirements. Therefore, an individual versus a professional organization is an issue where we have to have the balance. That's the reason why we have got a very strong investor grievance redressal mechanism that will support the investor all through. It doesn't mean that a wrong cause is supported, but more importantly, no genuine investor complaint should be left unresolved is the objective and motive with which we go ahead. There could be complaints against listed companies also. Both of them are handled here. Listed companies, at least there are alternative methods in which it can be resolved. As far as the broker is concerned, exchanges have got more or less direct regulatory jurisdiction on the brokers, and therefore the assurance with which we can resolve the complaint against both brokers is almost near 100%. What we do, what kind of complaints we take up against the brokers? Execution of trades without consent. This is a very important area. The investor has got a kind of a trading relationship or trading agreement with the broker, and some initial margin money or collateral securities are issued with the resting with the broker, it's quite possible that the broker keeps on trading on behalf of the investor at the instructions of the investors. Oftentimes we get complaints that a trade is done without the consent of the investor. That's one area which we'll go into and try to resolve the issue. In case a trade is without a consent, if so, what is the consequences? How best to protect the interests of the investors? And having got a trade done, whether securities have been received or not, whether funds have been received or not against the trade is another area of complaint which is attended to. There could be some service related areas like contract note not being given, accounting ledger not being given, dividends on the securities given as collateral not paid to the client, and so on and so forth. All service related questions also are attended to by the exchange against the broker. In case the broker charges excess brokerage or other charges which are not been agreed to between the trading member and the investor, thus such questions are also investigated and attended to. In case non-issuance of the documents by the trading member, for example, you have entered into, the retail investor has given a KYC document, introductory document, or some other thing for which he is supposed to get a copy of it, or a copy of the same document should be given back to the investor for his records. Similarly, tariff sheet agreed to between the client and the broker, a copy has to be given to the client. Similarly, the retail investor has given willingness to trade in any segment like cash segment, F&O segment, or currency segment. Whatever he has given as agreed to, then a copy of that has to be given to the retail investor. Whether such documents have been shared back by the broker to the investor, if it is not done, we attend to that kind of a complaints. And you may have kept some money or you may have given some securities as a margin. Once the retail investor decides not to continue the trade or shift his trade to someone else, he needs to get back his funds and securities. Is he getting them or not? If he does not get it, again we take the complaint and pursue the matter until the matter is resolved. Similarly, in case of auction, in case of closeout, in case the retail investor is not able to deliver, or in case retail investor is not able to get the quantity ordered for by him, in such cases auction or closeout will happen. Then some adjustments have to be made. Whether adjustments have been properly made or not, that's also checked out. So there are so many, these are the kind of complaints we generally entertain. There are certain complaints that exchange will not be able to entertain at all against the broker. They are in the nature of notional loss or opportunity loss, or complaint that mental agony or harassment, such things which do not fall into our jurisdiction, we may not be able to help in such cases. Similarly, in case the trade is not executed on National Stock Exchange and it has been executed in another different stock exchange or different platform, such cases will not be taken by National Stock Exchange. Similarly, between the broker and the retail investor, there could be other than trading commercial understandings. Say a retail investor has given a deposit to the broker on a loan basis, or he has given some securities on a lending basis. It's a completely private arrangement between them which is not trade related. Such complaints cannot be resolved under this mechanism. Similarly, any activity between the broker and the retail investor which do not fall into the jurisdiction of exchange, possibly we may not be able to entertain because we don't have the legal power to enter into those areas because of limitation of our legal jurisdictions. We may not be able to take this kind of a complaints against the brokers. Similarly, in the case of complaints against the listed companies, we pursue with company and see that the problems are resolved. In the case of IPO, that is initial public offer or rights issue or a further issue, if the investor doesn't get a refund order, allotment advice, credit of securities, he does not get dividends, he does not get interest on debt instruments, he does not get annual reports, he does not get the bonus shares credited, he does not get shares arising out of stock split or a merger, etc. All these kind of complaints are taken. Similarly, if the investor doesn't get the annual report, general body meeting notices, or explanatory statement for extra general body meeting, even such cases are also retained. We pursue with the company until the problem is resolved to the satisfaction of the investors. This is the broad structure in which we go ahead. Once we receive a complaint, what do we do with the complaint? The complaint can come in any form. They can come as a hard copy printed paper to us. It can come through online. We call it a NICE portal. That is, you can go to the NSE website and there's a investor grievances icon. You press that and get and lodge your complaint. Even that's taken. You can send an email complaint, or you can go to SEBI. On SEBI's course, you can lodge a complaint, which will again be directed to NSE. So I receive complaint in any of these formats. Whenever we receive the complaint, the first thing that we do is that we analyze the issue raised by the investor quickly. We see whether it's a complaint relating to service, complaint relating to funds, complaint relating to securities, what exactly it is being said in that. It is immediately analyzed. As soon as we analyze, through email, we send a request to the broker concerned against whom the complaint is lodged in terms of what the kind of explanation he's supposed to give, and give a documentary evidence for this particular trade to be given to us immediately. We'll ask trading member, we send a mail, and because going by mail, it reaches him almost instantaneously as soon as we have completed the analysis of the complaint. And then we follow up with the broker to see that we get whatever clarification we want. We have a method of keeping an account of number of complaints received against each broker, and if the response given by the broker is not good enough, the broker is called to the office to explain why they are not having a robust system of investor grievance redressal mechanism, and if required, we take serious penal action in case he continues to be not consistent in terms of investor redressal grievance redressal. That's the reason why brokers are very alert and they are very sensitive to calls from us from the investor services department, and as soon as a call goes from us, they immediately respond to us. Within the broker's offices also, there is a compliance officer and there is an investor services officer who generally respond to our calls. They are known to the exchange. We call them directly and say, my dear friend, please resolve this complaint as soon as immediately. So we generally get in about 2 to 3 days time, we get revert from the broker in terms of whatever he has to offer against the complaint. He may also have a counter argument against the investor. It's quite possible, but we get a response from the trading member in terms of whatever clarification he wants to offer, whatever the explanation he wants to offer, and whether he is willing to resolve the complaint himself or whatever is required. And in case the contention is a little stronger from the broker, and we find that the investor has not given adequate documents to us to support his cause, we may call up the investor and request him to give any further documents like proof of delivering through depository, proof of paying the money through a bank check, etc. Such details also we may seek from them. Once we have got a documentary evidence from the investor and also explanation from the broker, what we do is we conduct meeting between the broker and the investor. We hold meetings wherever possible. We try to have a physical meeting. If it is the same city and town, we expect the broker to come to our office. We expect the investor to come to office. But if the investor is not able to come to office, maybe he's employed, maybe he's in business, he may not be able to leave the job and come to us. We don't mind taking a teleconference between the broker and the investor if that is the requirement. But general preference is to have a face-to-face meeting. Even if it is not face-to-face, doesn't matter. It can be through telephones also. We try to, in our office, we request both of them to sit down, discuss and try to settle the matter, and try to have 2-3 rounds of meetings within about 15 days from the time of receiving the complaint to have these meetings. Hopefully, we get the resolutions done. If the resolution is not there, then we have one more step called as a reference to IGRP or Investor Grievance Resolution Panel. We have Investor Grievance Resolution Panel, who is a reconciliation mechanism to whom the complaint is referred to if at the meetings held by at the NSE, if the problems are not resolved, we go to the IGRP or Investor Grievance Resolution Panel. We have Investor Grievance Resolution panels at all the 14 offices. These panels have got experts in trade who are not officers of NSE, who are not related to NSE. They are eminent persons, respectable persons in the locality. They are impaneled and they are kept on the panel. And this panel member is requested to mediate between the broker and investor to see that the problem is resolved. Mind you, they are not NSE officers. They are experts in the trade, eminent persons in the society, unrelated to NSE. They mediate between the investor and the broker and see that the problem is resolved to the extent possible. They conduct 1, 2, 3 sessions to see that this issue is resolved. If the issue is not resolved, there are alternatives available. At this point, I think investor has to appreciate that for this mediation effort, no fees is to be paid by the investor. All the costs are taken by the NSE itself. NSE has got separate meeting rooms for this particular purpose, and honorarium to these experts and their conveyance, everything is paid by National Stock Exchange itself. Investor has no cost to pay at all for this purpose. IGRP hears both of them, and in case investor is not able to come to this reconciliation or mediation meeting physically, he can come through telephone also. That facility is also given. And IGRP tries to persuade both investor and the broker to resolve the issue, maybe compromise, maybe one accepts other's point of view, whatever, a kind of a resolution is kind to be facilitated. If both the parties don't agree and they are not willing to resolve, either investor is not willing to take broker's argument or broker is not willing to take investor's contention, in such cases IGRP on its own wisdom decides whether this investor complaint has got a merit or no merit. If it has got a merit, it will say its merit worth considering, and they will also value the value of the complaint. Investor may say it's about 10 lakhs or 8 lakhs, and they will go to the records and say it is 7 lakhs 70,000, it is 6 lakhs 40,000. They determine the value. They determine whether the case merits a resolution or not, and give an instruction to the board exchange saying that in their understanding this investor's complaint merits consideration and the value of the complaint is also communicated advice to the exchange. Then either the party, whether the investor or the broker, is given a 7 days time to appeal for arbitration. If they prefer to go to arbitration, it is fine. If they don't prefer to go to arbitration, the amount decided by the IGRP is paid from the broker's funds available with the exchange to the investor. Let us say the broker has got 1 crore deposit with us and the value of the complaint is decided as 6,40,000 rupees. 6,40,000 rupees is taken away from the deposit of the broker and paid to the investor if either the broker or the investor don't go to the arbitration mechanism. This is a very expedient and very powerful mechanism because broker is under a constant threat. If he is not able to come into understanding and close the complaint positively, or if he feels so strong that his investor is at fault, he has to immediately take the next step of going to arbitration, failing which he will have to lose the case. He has to allow us, the exchanges, to deduct the money from his deposits and pay away to the investor. This has been working very well. Now, if IGRP, at the end of IGRP also, if either broker or the investor feel that they have a case, judicial case to go about, they can go to arbitration. And the arbitration again is conducted by exchanges itself. Arbitrators are identified. The whole arbitration mechanism is administered by the exchange itself. It's a quasi-judicial mechanism. At the end of the arbitration, an award is passed. The award has got a legal force which can be enforced in a particular way, which I'll explain as I go forward. At all the regional offices, 14 offices of NSE, we have got arbitration benches. We have got arbitration benches at 14 cities in this country. And whenever the value of the complaint is less than 25 lakhs, a single arbitrator will sit in judgment. If the value of the claim is more than 25 lakhs, a panel of 3 arbitrators will sit in judgment. List of arbitrators is transparently available on the NSE site, and investors and brokers can choose their preferred arbitrator from the list available, and they can give 3 choices each. All the 3 choices given by broker and the investor are fed into a computer system. Computer system's logic, computer system methodology is prescribed by SEBI. So as per that particular program logic, a particular final set of arbitrator or arbitrators is selected by the computer system. Usually, investor's choice is given preference in matters. With this, a list of arbitrators is selected. Even for the empanelment of arbitrators, what we do is we look at the background. Usually, we select people of eminence, like say retired judges in the locality, retired general managers of banks, retired income tax officers, income tax commissioners, this kind of for people who have held high positions and who have got clear-cut experience in terms of adjudicating between two parties, such people are given a preference for in paneling. They are eminent people by themselves. So such arbitrators sit for arbitration and they try to take the case, judge the case. In case the cost of the complaint, the complaint value is less than 10 lakhs, whatever the fees to be paid to the arbitrator will be paid to the exchange. Whatever the fees has to be paid to the arbitrator is paid to the exchange if the complaint value is 10 lakhs. Clearly, it's a signal for retail investors that the whole system is working in their favor. So the arbitrators will entertain a case which is not suffering limitation. Limitation here is 3 years from the date of transaction. If it is not more than 3 years old, arbitrators will normally allow the arbitration case to come before them. They are given a 4 months time to judge the matter. They hear once, twice, thrice, depending upon the number of times required. What is the number of times they want to listen? They will hear both the parties. Parties are allowed to take advocates also into this arbitration process. But if the investor is willing to put up without an advocate, he wants to argue his own case, broker has to argue his own case. He may not be able to bring an advocate himself. So then the arbitrators then pronounce what is called as an award, and award will be implemented against the broker if there is no appeal. If it is award against the investor, it is for the broker to see that the award is implemented by himself. But if the award is against the broker, exchange helps in implementing the award, that is taking away money from the broker and give it. As long as exchange has got some deposit, some money of the broker in its hand, if the award has gone in favor of the investor, out of the money available to the exchange, it will be straight away paid to the retail investor. He doesn't have to go anywhere else to see that award is what you call executed. That's again an important step, important protection for the investors. And then if the broker wants to go for appeal, he can go for the appeal. If the investor wants to go for an appeal, he can go for the appeal. But a time of 1 month is given to the investors and retail investors to be able to appeal against the award. It cannot be more than 1 month. Within 1 month, they have to decide. And then if there is a appeal, then 3 arbitrators will be sitting for arbitrating in the particular case. Appellate arbitration bench size is 3. Procedure for selection of appellant arbitrator is the same. Both the investors and the brokers will give their own choice of arbitrators. Computer logic will generate the commonly acceptable arbitrators, and they will go into the case and they will hear the case. And they will pronounce an arbitration award. This award can be challenged only in the High Court, and the High Court which is closer to the investor and not closer to the broker. That's an important point we have to note. Investors closest High Court, they can write. Closest in the sense the state in which investor resides, in that jurisdiction the High Court case can be filed. You will see that it's a huge stake. Actually, the broker himself can resolve the complaint, then exchange can resolve the complaint. If the exchange does not do, if the exchange is not able to settle, IGRP comes into play. IGRP is not able to settle, there is an arbitration. If the arbitration is not able to go, appellate arbitration. Appellate arbitration is not there, it goes to High Court. Our understanding is that it doesn't really go to that extent at all. In the meanwhile, even as this process is on, SEBI has come out with a structure of interim relief will be given to the investors should there be a case. If the reconciliation fails and the IGRP members have concluded that this complaint has a merit, and they also have given a value to this particular complaint, if there is no preference to arbitration within 7 days, amount is paid to the investor. It's a beautiful release. If within 7 days, broker is not deciding to go against IGRP's views, and IGRP is of the opinion that there is a merit in what investor is saying, money is straight away paid from the deposits available in the exchange. I think it's more or less a summary disposal of the case. If the broker prefers an arbitration, an interim relief of 75,000 rupees or 50% of the amount of IGRP value, whichever is less, is immediately paid to the investor if the complaint value is less than 10 lakhs. In case the complaint is given by a retail and small investor, value less than 10 lakhs. IGRP found a merit in this case and we made a value of that. And there's no preference to arbitration. About 75,000 rupees or 50% of the complaint is paid out of investor protection fund. It's not broker's money, it is the exchange's money. From the investor protection fund, about 75,000 rupees is paid as a immediate relief to the investor. After arbitration award is pronounced and the member goes to appeal against the arbitration again, then another 75,000 rupees is paid or another 50% is paid to the investor out of IPF, such that a total of 1,50,000 rupees is paid to the investor as an interim relief measure. So you will see that even if the course of resolution is not favoring him because broker is going in for appeals at every stage, some amount of relief is given to the investor at every point in time. I think this is an excellent arrangement stack given by the SEBI in terms of redressing the investor's complaint, and exchanges are strictly following. And NSE is trying to do what it's trying to do. If you look at this slide, you will find that whereas in the case of 13-14, we were taking 33 days to resolve a complaint, in 15-16, until now we have reduced the time to 18 days time. With constant persuasion with the trading members and investors, with electronic communication coming in play, using telephone conferences methodology, opening more offices across the country, reaching the investors, what we try to do is we try to shrink the time for resolution of complaint from 33 days to 18 days. I think it's a fairly quick turnaround time to be able to do this. And not only that, if you look at the way in which we have resolved the complaints or closed the complaints, it's about 91 to 96%. It has been increasing, it has going up. About 96% of the investors' complaints are resolved within 18 days by the National Stock Exchange using the investor services redressal mechanism effectively for the benefit of the investors. I'm sure that this kind of a facility is fairly unique in the world, and retail investors should be able to take the advantage of this kind of a investor grievances method. First place is that take all the precautions that you don't have to be in a investor complaints mode at all. You have got communication from the National Stock Exchange itself about your contract, your trade details. If it is not false, you should be able to take the issue with broker right away. Okay. So you have to be, to the extent possible, issue the orders in writing to the broker so that broker can never manipulate or create any issue about that. And thirdly, you have to be aware of how to place the order, how to trade, when to trade, how much to trade. You cannot leave the whole decision making to broker, and if broker's decisions go wrong, you can't find fault with him. So long as you are managing your portfolio, so long as you are able to follow the alerts given by the exchange, we expect that there will not be any much scope for investor grievance at all. If there is investor grievance, we have got a very strong and robust system which will be able to help you to resolve the issue at different stages. And you will also note that without any cost to yourself, with an interim relief measure given to you, I think we will have a fairly excellent method of resolving the investor complaints. That's what I think we should enjoy. And I repeat the access points to this investor grievance procedure. You will find the helpline numbers, you will find the links to our complaint registering mechanism. You can use this and reach us. I think now we are ready to take questions and answers.
Unmuted.
Thank you very much, Dr. Narasimhan. That was an extremely informative session, and I'm sure many in our audience now know the do's and don'ts of investing in capital markets thanks to the detailed presentation you made, and where you also listed down the arbitration benches and the scope of the online portal and the other investor redressal panels that you've mentioned. So Dr. Narasimhan now will take your questions. And I repeat, you can open your chat room on the right side of the screen and start posting your questions now. And don't forget, you can also tweet your questions to us at ET Markets handle, and those questions will come straight to us on the webinar, and Dr. Narasimhan will be able to answer them. So Dr. Narasimhan, some questions have already come in, and so the first one is high praise for us, so I'll take that. That's rather a compliment which is coming from Manoj Parkande. He says that this is a very good program as far as the knowledge of stock market is concerned, and it increases awareness. Thank you, Mr. Farkande. Thank you very much, and keep tuned in. We will be telecasting, we will be doing live webcasts with more experts on this. And after that, there is Dr. I'm sorry, Dr. Madhusudan Reddy. He's written in, and his question, I think, which kind of covers pretty much what everybody else's idea after this webinar is that how can I get the required justice through SEBI or any other agency for my grievance? He hasn't listed down any particular grievance, but he's referring to general investor redressal system. If you could please answer that.
Yeah, I have given this access to this investor grievances portal. I have given you, just how you're able to see on the screen just now, NSE-investor www.nsc-investhelpline.com, or you go to NSE India site, you can see investors helpline icon there. You have a toll-free number also. You have got SEBI scores web link scores.gov.in, or you've got SEBI's toll-free numbers. You can access any of these places and you can lodge a complaint. I have only one caution to say that these toll-free numbers, as far as NSE is concerned, it can take complaints against the trading members, that is brokers registered with the National Stock Exchange, or companies listed against companies listed on the National Stock Exchange. We may not be able to take complaint against a mutual fund or on any other type of intermediary who is not registered with National Stock Exchange. We will be able to take action against stockbrokers and sub-brokers dealing on National Stock Exchange and companies listed on National Stock Exchange. SEBI, on the other hand, will be able to take complaints against not only the brokers, not only the listed companies, but also other intermediaries registered with SEBI. So these are two ways in which you can reach depending upon the person to with whom you want to take a complaint, or the complaint entity against you have the complaint. You can reach either SEBI or NSE depending upon your complaint substance.
Thank you, Dr. Narasimhan. So, Mr. Reddy, I hope you've noted down the websites where you can lodge a complaint. For the NSE, for any complaint pertaining to the NSE, you can reach out to them at www.nseinvestorhelpline.com, and you can also reach out to the SEBI Scores online portal at scores.gov.in.com. Thank you, thank you, Mr. Reddy. And now moving on, Dr. Narasimhan, there's a gentleman, Shivanand Yalsangi. So he wants to know what is the present situation of the market. Is it a very high volatile situation according to you for investors? That is his concern.
I have two sensitivities at this point in time. One, I represent an exchange. Two, I'm a regulator. In both these situations, it's difficult for me to make a comment on the nature of the market at this point in time, because by my professional regulatory framework, I am not expected to make any comment on the nature of the market. So I may not be able to do this question.
Okay. So Mr. Yalsangi, Dr. Narasimhan cannot make any objective comment on that. So you will have to seek advice elsewhere. There is someone called Sanjay Sharma. His concern is that he has a lot of physical shares which have expired transfer deeds or owners who have expired. And in some cases, the value of those shares is less than the cost of the prescribed process to get them transferred to his name. So he wants to know, is there a simpler or a cheaper way for this? That's his query.
Depositories must be able to help this situation very easily. Nevertheless, since I know something about this, I'm just trying to answer. One, in case of expired transfer deed, he can go to the nearest registrar of companies and have the transfer deed extended. ROCs do this by restamping the transfer deed. They can extend the expiry period of the transfer deed by about a year or so. Second question is, he can open what is called as a no-frills DP account, which is fairly inexpensive. In this no-frills DP account, he can try to do the dematerialization. He can do the dematerialization. To the best of my knowledge, where there's a difficulty, if it's the transmission case, if the person expired is somehow related to this investor, and he gets the right to he inherits these shares in some form, and the value of the shares is not more than about 2 lakhs in a company, the given company. The procedure is very simple and straightforward. Probably depository site will give you very clear methodology of how to achieve this. If the value is more than 2 lakhs, it's anyway worth it, and therefore you've got to do this. I would suggest you should use what is called as a transfer cum demat route to be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. That's the best thing to do.
So, Mr. Sanjay Sharma, I hope you've noted that he mentions about the transfer.demat. So I hope.
Look,
Sorry?
it's like what is transfer and demat route. There is a method called transfer and demat. It's a established process in depository system that is used. What happens is transfer deed sent to registrar is recorded in depository records, and therefore there can be follow-up, strong follow-up, and investor grievance redressal mechanism also will be available. That's the reason I am saying.
Thank you for clarifying that, Dr. Narasimhan. Thank you very much. And now we have a question which I think a lot of people now, this is also the time when tax investments are being made. So Shubhangi Walke has written in. She says her question is that for a new user investing in mutual funds, what precautionary measures would you suggest should be taken?
I think it's a very good question. I'm talking only from the investor protection angle. I'm not talking about the investment because I'm not expected to answer this area. One thing is, how do you select the mutual fund is a question. That's first thing you're about to answer. If the objective is very clear that you want to save on taxes, there are very good tax saving schemes called as ELSS schemes. Almost all mutual fund houses do this. What we do is you have to select the ELSS scheme, which is the best. And actually, SEBI has come out with a kind of a guideline asking the mutual funds to give what is called as the color rating to the scheme. They give red, green, and orange kind of a thing, wherein it gives the indicative risk of this particular scheme. So depending upon the risk appetite you have and allocation you are making to this particular scheme, you can select whichever type of scheme you want, and you can always select a good ELSS scheme or tax saving scheme into which you can invest, and it's an available option. It's a good thinking actually.
Right. Thank you for answering Ms. Walke's concern there. There is, beg your pardon, Ali Rahmatullah has written, he says that the credit balance in his trading account was not paid by the broker, and after a protracted correspondence with the MSE, he got an Appellate Arbitration Tribunal award which was dated 19th of Jan 2015 for an amount to be paid after part payment. Now the MSE is closed and he wonders what is to be done next.
NSE, I don't know. I don't think it's, that is, he's talking about National Spot Exchange possibly. If it's National Stock Exchange, he can write to us, we'll look at it. But if it is National Spot Exchange, if he's talking about, I think, but NSE is working. NSE is not closed. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm sorry. He said MSE, M for Madras, MSE.
Oh, MSE is closed. Oh, okay. Madras Stock Exchange.
Madras Stock Exchange. So is there a way out for him there?
If the broker house is still available, maybe he has to go by civil suit.
Right. So, Mr. Rahmatullah, if the broking house is still available, then you will have to file a civil suit. You'll have to go the civil way for that. Right, Dr. Narasimhan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. We have a very pertinent question since we are doing this webinar online. It's coming from Amit Chawla, who's written from Delhi. So he says he wants to know that with so much use of technology and algorithmic trading, have you noticed whether there's been a rise in technology-related complaints from investors?
It's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting question. With algorithmic trading, high-frequency trading, and all the technology used, thankfully, so far, we have not received any complaint against any particular algorithmic trading deceiving or putting investor to a disadvantage or a loss. I don't know how much this gentleman is aware of the question he's asking. If he tries to open the question and understand, today in the market we are told that there are investment strategies available which can be hired by investors to use and make money out of the market by hiring an investment strategy, algorithmic trading investment strategy. If he's talking about losses incurred by that, we haven't faced any such. And because of algorithmic trading traded by somebody else, if somebody investor is affected, do you have any complaints? Even such complaints also have not received. But investor grievance redressal mechanism has improved its effectiveness because we are able to go by the electronic mail, email kind of a correspondence, SMSs, video conferencing, teleconferencing. We are able to use all that. Technology has been useful for reducing the time taken for resolving a complaint. To that extent, yes, it has been used.
Thank you, thank you, Dr. Narasimhan. I hope Amit Chawla, that answers your query. And Partha Banerjee writes in, he wants to know if there's been a drop in investor complaints with pertaining to IPOs recently, following the new measures that have come into force, that have been enforced by the SEBI. And so if that, he wants to know, has it really been helpful? Would you be able to take that up?
If you look at the trend of IPO-related complaints, I would say they're almost dead. We don't find any complaints at all, except one or two sporadic situations where refund order has not been received. Even that is also very less. In fact, on the IPO complaint side, I can say at the place in which I'm sitting, I do not have any anxiety at all. I have almost single-digit IPO-related complaints. I have some which are 8 years, 9 years old. For some legacy reasons, companies are not able to resolve. But otherwise, in the recent past, I have not received an IPO-related complaint at all. Thanks to technology, thanks to depository system, thanks to electronic transfers and banking system, thanks to the way in which the applications are being received, applications are being entered, application is being processed by registered transfer agents. Everywhere technology has helped in a way that IPO-related complaints are near zero.
Dr. Narasimhan, you say that the IPO-related complaints have come down, and that's good news for the markets. That's good for investor confidence, for the consumer confidence it builds up. But a gentleman, J.S. Varma, he writes in, he says that of late there have been cases when the companies have not announced their earnings on time. They've failed to adhere to the time that they've mentioned. Can companies do that, and what should investors do when they are denied information in this particular fashion?
Again, it's a very interesting question, and I think it's a very useful question for all the participants in the webinar. There is a rule made by SEBI, 30th September 2013, wherein not only that they have stipulated the period by which the results are to be announced by the company, but what if they don't do also? In fact, exchanges have been authorized to impose penalty, and it's a graduated structure. Initially we penalize, later on we shift the company into trade for trade, which means that the company is not a great company. If they don't still adhere to the compliance requirements, the promoters' holdings are frozen. That is, promoter shares are debarred from being traded on the exchange. That's how a graduated structure of penalty has been put in. Our understanding and our observation is that companies other than those suspended, out of about 1,700 companies on the National Stock Exchange, for historical reasons about 170 companies have been roughly suspended so far. Other than these 170 companies, out of the live companies, about 1530 or 1540 around, we hardly find about 10-12 companies not giving the results, and maximum of about 30-35 companies not giving at the end of 15th day. They have given it, but little later than 15 days. So I don't find as a big phenomenon today on the actively traded companies. And in case such things happen, we can use this helpline and complain to us. We'll take action and we'll come back to you. And thankfully for us, in fact, what we can do in case you want the results, if it is available with me, with the exchanges, we don't mind sending a copy to you directly without even waiting for the company.
Thank you, Dr. Narasimhan. The audience, a kind word to you. We are running out of time. We're really short on time, and now we have just time for 2 more questions. So I'll make that quick. Dr. Narasimhan Deeptiman Rawat writes in from Dehradun. He wants to know, does the NSE also handle investor grievances regarding mutual funds that have been sold on its platform, on its own platform, on the National Stock Exchange platform?
If it is a trade on the exchange, yes.
Yes.
If it's a trade on the exchange, if it's a listed mutual fund and the trade was posted here, we can always take it up.
So, Mr. Rawat, I hope that answers your question. And our last question for this session is coming in from Purab Singh. He wants to know, what is the easiest way for an investor from distant areas to lodge a complaint, and how does the NSE handle such cases? He's written in that he lives in Chandigarh. He's not from any of the metros. He's from Chandigarh. He's written in, and he wants to know what is the easiest way for an investor from distant areas to deal with a complaint.
I have given the portal in which they can register the complaint, and they have the facility of teleconferencing to come for discussing with the member when NSE takes the initiative. They have the facility of teleconferencing to appear before the IGRP. Only if the issue goes up to arbitration, they have no choice except to present themselves before the arbitrators in person because of judicial processes. Otherwise, they can use the toll-free number, or they can file a complaint email-wise. They can actually use the portal and file the complaint. So there are methods. They don't have to come from their home at all. They can complain from wherever they are. They can lodge a complaint. They will receive the responses on email, their responses on SMSs, information on SMSs, and therefore distance is not a factor at all today.
Yes, distance is not a factor. The world is coming closer, and we have technology to thank for that. So the audience, I will tell you that you have the presentation of Dr. Narasimhan open on your systems. Please, you can note down the online grievance portal IDs that he's given. You could also note down the toll-free numbers that are listed and send an SMS or call them up and register your complaint. Thank you, Dr. Narasimhan, for taking time off from a very busy Thursday schedule. We also thank our audience who've been extremely patient and responsive. As always, we've not been able to entertain all questions due to a paucity of time, and we hope we can address them the next time. Till next week, it's bye from us. Take care and invest smartly. Thank you.
Thank you.